What's up, guys? It's your boy Fees here today. Today I'm going to be bringing you all something somewhat new to the MKWii community, which is an MKWii based podcast. I want this podcast to be interesting, informative, and entertaining. I also want to have constant interaction with the viewers and hopefully meaningful feedback in the comments. The podcast is going to be pretty bare bones, focusing solely on the audio content. Therefore, I'd recommend listening while playing some time trials or maybe even doing some online races. I personally love listening to podcasts while playing this game, and maybe you will too. Now, I'm not entirely sure if somebody else has done this before, an MKWii podcast, but if they have, right on them, man. I'm not trying to steal any ideas. This is just something that I thought of, and I think it would be a lot of fun. So this podcast will have three main sub-podcast topics, which are players, tracks, and the community. Each will have their own title and thumbnail templates, creating a system of easily identifiable videos on my channel. The player podcast will feature 3 to 4 players that fall into some kind of cluster. The plan is to talk about each player individually and describe how they fall into each cluster. The goal here is not to rank players. The order of each player is irrelevant. This is merely me giving credit to some of the players in our community. The first episode is a player podcast, so if any of that was unclear, you'll know what I mean shortly. The Tracks podcast will feature one track and a brief description of their categories, after which I'll discuss interesting things about the track, where time travelers tend to struggle, and some of my personal opinions of the track. The community-based podcast will likely be the most controversial. In these, I'm not going to tread on thin ice. I'm going to stomp on thin ice. These will be meant to share new and interesting ideas about the community. Going forward, I'd like everyone to know that I will be playing devil's advocate in many of these. I think there are tons of suppressed ideas within the community, and I'd like to have these ideas become better well known. So without any further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. So, as the title might suggest, this first episode is on players that are known for breaking the barriers. What I consider breaking the barriers is doing something that absolutely shocked the community. These players constantly set high and new standards on tracks that they really focus on. And as a quick side note, there's only one objectively non-glitch player in this lineup. Write down who you think it is and include it in your comment if you decide to do so. First up, we have Justin. Justin is a relatively new player, and he wasn't around for what many people consider to be the golden age of MKWii, or even soon after. Justin's first world record was set in 2018, nearly 10 years after the game's release. His most notable breaking the barriers moment was on MKWii glitch. He was the first player to successfully make 2 glitches in one run. He made the single glitch strat impossible for a potential new world record, significantly increasing the standard to world record on MKWii glitch. On top of which, Justin is the only player to have ever beaten Bean on WGM glitch, and the first to set a world record on the category with Funky Kong Flame Runner since 2010. Combine that with all of Justin's countless worldwide and regional times, and you've got one groundbreaking player. Second up, we've got another relatively new player, Bryce. Bryce is kind of known for doing maddening things. He was the first person to ever set a world record on MG glitch with the quad strategy. His implementation of the quad cut nearly a full second off Kenny's legacy world record of 26.009. Even more impressive was his initial world record on RSL glitch. He was the first player to ever land back onto the track after clipping the start pole. I'd like to take a moment to emphasize the significance of this world record. Players theorized a way to land back onto the track for years but never came close. After much perseverance, he was able to replicate what he saw in a task video and became the first player to ever land back onto the track. Another task strat he decided to implement was the MC glitch task clip strat. I'd like to note that he went for 2 non-stop tree clips just so Guy didn't feel as cheated when he lost his world record. Bryce would go on to improve the world record many times over, but his first world record on MC was a tremendous act of morality, reflecting very positively on his character. Lastly, we've got an oldie, a true veteran of the Force, Fox. Fox didn't lower times on tracks by like a second or more, but he steadily improved many courses over a fairly long period of time. Fox was setting world records so consistently and repetitively, it was almost like he was inhuman, basically a machine. He would learn a track, dominate the leaderboards, then move on to the next one. He was so good, most of the time trialing community thought he was a cheater at one point, but he didn't let the toxicity get to him. He would go on to setting a groundbreaking 29 world records in 2015 alone. That kind of production hasn't even been close to being matched. He is, without a doubt, one of the most insane players this community has seen in its history. Alright guys, so before the video ends, I'd like to make a few announcements. I plan to upload at least twice a week, most likely one video at the beginning of the week and one at the end of the week. This is, of course, if the videos get enough positive feedback, and if that happens, then this will become a standard upload along with regular upload dates. Also, serious questions brought up in the comments will likely be addressed and answered in the following upload, and I'd like to make that a regular thing. I think speaking with the community and speaking with the viewers is very important, and I think that's something that's lacking pretty heavily in the Mario Kart Wii community right now. Lastly, I would like to make it a habit to suggest something I like at the end of episodes. This will likely be music or movies or something like that, with more information provided in the description. This video suggestion is a movie I recently watched on Hulu called Walking with the Enemy. The film depicts a Hungarian Jew in World War II. Some scenes are pretty intense, but it's incredibly well shot and very interesting. So I want to know what y'all thought. Did you guys like the video? Should I have included more information about the players? Do you want to hear more of my opinions, or did I provide just enough? Please leave all of your input in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter if you have the chance. Peace, boys.